Hello, everybody. My name is Jorrel and Tim, one of the co-founders of Mintplex, joined as always by my co-founder, Mr. Timothy Kerbat.
Yes, but there's also there's a third person on the podcast now, a third one.
Oh, yeah. We hired somebody recently, but we'll dive into that. Welcome to the 17th episode of the Mintplexity podcast. It's been a couple weeks since we recorded our last one. And yes, in those couple weeks, some things have changed. We added a third member to our squad. Sorry, Bren, you're no longer considered the third person. Bye-bye. This is Jake. Jake, if you want to give yourself an introduction to all listeners out there who watch, because we actually have quite a number of listeners now that go and watch our podcast.
Yeah, awesome. My name is Jake. I am new to the team as a product marketing and support specialist, or manager, I believe is the official title now. I started out in the film industry and then eventually got into the crypto world. And I guess 2019 is when I started trading, and then didn't actually start working in it until 2021. Started dabbling here and there, and then eventually launched my own project, tried to create my own startup for gamers to find friends and all of that stuff. And then things didn't pan out, and I was looking for an awesome company, and just so happened that Mintplex came up on my radar, and they are creating an awesome tool suite. And I'm super excited to be on the team, and especially knowing Jorrel and Tim, it is very exciting to be on the team and know that this will be a very successful company.
Yeah, well, happy to have you on the podcast, because one thing that's most important is now we have somebody to balance our anti-Solana fund. Because
Solana native. I guess I first started on Ethereum, tried out Polygon, did not like it, eventually made it over to Solana, where I was for the past year or so only. But yeah, I understand all of the Solana hate, so it's not a problem.
No. You're the yin to our yang.
Yeah, definitely overwhelming voices from Tim and I. If you watched the last 16 episodes here, we're always shitting on some sort of decision making in Solana, but it's out of
just
love.
In general.
It's just out of love, That's what we're here to make this space better. And there's just a lot of critiques around the scamming. I mean the chain of the day I think that we're going to be shitting on, though, in this particular podcast is probably Polygon. So
yeah, definitely Polygon today. I mean, that's the thing. I think we like to take an equal approach of there is just ridiculousness on every single chain, and they're all bad in their own little unique way, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, there'll eventually be a chain that works, but for now, it's just back and forth shitting on them for different reasons.
Yeah, they all got different use cases. So, I mean, unless you're, of course, on the DeGods team, in which case you will use all of the chains for one project. Don't know how that's going to pan out, seriously.
With zero product still.
Zero. Oh, man. We didn't say it this time.
Yeah, because everyone knows it.
Like the worst part, I am so deep down rooting for DeGods to actually perform well and create a product. And every month goes by and I'm like, oh, maybe they'll announce something this month. They're masters at marketing. Yeah. But have not created a product worth shit so far. They have Ute points, which apparently you can edit your NFT, which is 2 years ago technology. And it's just I don't know, man. They need to actually create something.
But each time they jump a chain, the floor price changes, right? People get excited. And I'm just that isn't a good thing. You're chasing your holders around. And one of the recent tweets was, I can't believe it was something 11,000 out of the 13,000 Utes, I believe, had migrated to Polygon. Yeah. And they were excited about that. Not mentioning the fact that there was literal extortion where if you stayed on Solana, they were going to make the royalty fee. What was it?
33%.
33%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's
I think it was that. Wow. It may have been more, but 33 is their go-to usually.
That's like saying, guys, I went to this bank and they just gave me all the money, but not mentioning that you had a gun. Like it doesn't make any sense at all. I don't understand. And also, what chain is there to go to now? They've already done the Bitcoin route, which I don't know what happens to those holders, by the way. Like,
once again, Frank is a marketing genius saying like, oh, the ordinals are going to be dope. Like we have some special things coming for ordinals. You don't know what's coming. And then there's going to be some like next Ponzi thing to dump on the next holders. And like, I don't know, man.
There have been a fair share on ETH-based networks of people that are just professional marketers. I mean, I got burned by Mechaverse a long time ago. I got it on Mint, and I can never trust the French again because of that project. And yeah, it's like, I mean, every chain has it. I find it weird that there is just one personality on Solana. You know, even though there's a bunch of other projects that are all really good.
Yeah, outside of the Solana ecosystem, I'm going to guess Frank is the only person that you guys hear of. But like within Solana, we do have, I would say the main two like people to look up to as far as builders go would be the famous Fox Federation founders. They are super chill. They also shit on DeGods all the time for not building shit. And then Tom from Soulport. Tom is also a huge builder and like actually has some good points. I don't think he shits on Frank as much as the famous Fox team, but yeah.
I'd say the thing is that both those people build things. They're too busy building.
Exactly. Like it, and that's the whole thing. It's like, people only know Frank on the DeGods team when Frank isn't even like the main people on the team. He's just a master marketer. And that's it so far.
Hey, they got that A16Z money still. So maybe that's where they're putting it.
And Polygon.
Polygon money. Oh man.
We're speaking of builders. Jorrel and I had which like Jake, you weren't there, but it was the same day because we all met up right after because we were only at it for an hour. But NFT LA, for those of you who had the fortune of not attending this year, oh my God. Like, and I mean nothing. I mean, like this dig is nothing towards Outer Edge as a company. It is not towards any of the people who spoke because they contributed. Any of the people who booth has nothing to do with that. I just mean, in general, like NFT LA this year was like a husk of what it was the previous year. Joe, you went the previous year. I actually had a badly timed vacation at that time, so you can go into why it was so different.
I mean, I don't think it was badly timed. It was perfectly timed vacation last year. Because even last year there was I don't know. I think a lot more marketing and hype than there was building. And I do recall Brendan and I saying that quite a bit last year as well. But this year it was like all the marketing and hype is gone, and all the builders that remain are the ones that just are just lagging. Like that's it. Like all the builders that we had seen this time around were like, yo, you guys are building tech that nobody wants.
Well, some of the stuff was just like. Some of the larger personalities in the space, like even larger companies, like were not throwing anything, posting anything, which I kind of just feel like it kind of echoes a sentiment right now. That's kind of just like a lot of people are buckling down and just like think it's going to get worse before it gets better, which I mean, if you've been paying attention to US politics at all, even in just the crypto sliver that exists in politics, it's not good. And yeah, I mean, maybe that's what kept the convention so down bad, horrendous. Because
it's telling when Coinbase, which is notorious for literally at every single ETH or NFT event, they will always have some sort of rep. There was no sign of any representation of Coinbase.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a game convention? I feel like I saw a lot of Web3 companies at the game convention instead of NFT LA.
Yeah, GDC.
At GDC. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Game Developers Conference was at the same exact time. Tim and I were joking, maybe we should just fly over there because we'll probably see more builders than we do here in NFTLA. I mean, there were a lot of Web3 folks that went there, but that's like Web3 gaming, which is a more interesting, I think, vertical that's kind of growing. And Jake, you have lots to say actually on the Web3 gaming side of things, but so I don't know. I think the NFTLA or NFT events in general, I think those are very hard focused around like the creators, musicians, creatives in general. And the fact that it was so empty just shows how much confidence that they have, especially LA being, a very popular hub for all of these things. Just how they feel about the space overall. I mean, the people who were there were like straight up, like, I don't know, like they're just straight up, a lot of them were straight up grifters, man. Like it was really bad in my opinion, but
I mean, I don't have much to say on many of the boothers, like, cause we had, like there were like 300 people, maybe 500. I don't know, in that one room. I can't be more than it can't be 500. It's probably like 300 people. And it really wasn't that many. We had Biv had just told us that we missed Hasbullah just sitting up there.
I walked right by Hasbullah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were graced by his presence. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I remember when Flosstradamus was there last year, like like a lot of people were surrounding him and were like trying to talk to him, whatever. When Hasbullah walked by, it was maybe like maximum like 5 or 6 people. I was like, damn, like nobody really cares about celebrities at these things.
Well, I also feel like because Floss actually had or has still some kind of project or something like that. That was, I think, on ETH. I remember he was very big into building something at that time. So maybe that's why. Because like Hasbullah, does Hasbullah even like what? Like I don't even understand that speaker choice. Like I don't understand.
He was a speaker?
Yeah, he was a speaker.
I did not know.
I don't even think he spoke. I don't even think he spoke.
He just stood there and everybody clapped. I think that was,
Yeah, just gave us a very short rundown. Yeah, but yeah, that was it was odd. NFTLA was odd. I'm not particularly bullish right now on NFT NYC, which tends to be more DeFi focused anyway. Not so sure. So.
Yeah, we'll keep we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I shared the spreadsheet with you, Tim, and they have quite a lot of events and side events, but it's funny because a lot of those events themselves are very they're very low key now. Like a lot of them are just like, oh hey, we're gonna meet up at this spot. We're just gonna like hang out. It's no like, oh my gosh, like we're gonna throw a party or a rager. Unlike last year. Oh Dude, my gosh, year, it was crazy.
I went to the marquee like 4 nights in a row because there was always something going on NFT related at the marquee at night. So but I don't think anyone's renting out the marquee this time. I got to see Cascade. I didn't even know who that was. Everybody was like, how do you not know who Cascade is? And then I started listening to Cascade and I was like, shit, this shit's fire. I was like,
you're like EDM? What?
Yeah. I was like, dude, no, I was more of a Skrillex guy growing up. So that's why. So.
Makes sense. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of, I think Jake's coming in, joining us at a time where we're really hard focusing and trying to figure out new ways for us to approach Web3, just because, there's all that sentiment around everything. And a few podcasts ago, we did talk about Silvergate and SVB shutting down and whatnot. That's like a lot of people have kind of like put that in the back of their heads already, but that's still very much relevant in a lot of the reasoning around people exiting the space. A lot of the reasoning around, just the worry, I think, overall with regulatory restrictions and whatnot coming up.
Did you hear that the US is actually going to be tranching some massive sales of Bitcoin that they seized from the Silk Road? They're going to be doing sell-offs of that. I think it was something like, I don't want to say the wrong number and sound like an idiot and have it be recorded. It was a massive number and they were going to do like 4 tranches of sell-off, which I think is just like RIP to Balaji's bet for Bitcoin to 1 million.
That's bad.
Yeah,
but
if they're
that's supposed to happen soon.
Yes, they're going to market sell. God, I want to say the number. There's no way it was like 11 million but it was the Silk Road and the Silk Road was extremely profitable. So I don't know. If we can find the tweet.
It says that they've sold $216 million worth of Silk Road Bitcoin this month. So they've already sold.
Oh my gosh,
but they
dude.
so they plan to sell 41,000 Bitcoin, but they've only sold 9,800 so far.
They've only sold 9,800 out of 41,000.
Yep.
That's real.
So we got a lot more to go.
Yeah, that is a tiny fraction.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government is the one selling this?
Yeah.
So are they paying the 40% tax?
Yeah. What's funny is that they've kind of, I can't imagine someone that has more, because like MicroStrategy probably doesn't have 41,000 Bitcoin. I don't know how much they have. Does El Salvador have more Bitcoin? Like,
no, there's a list of countries that have the most Bitcoin. And I know the US, I don't think was number one.
Well, even
I thought it was like China for a while. But I don't remember now. This is a while back though. Like I remember when I was first getting into the whole like crypto stuff in like 2015, 2016, when China was still very crypto friendly. Like them and Russia had like a lot of Bitcoin, but then
this is okay. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, there are people with like way more Bitcoin than that. Yeah. Okay. So never mind, because MicroStrategy has 130,000 Bitcoin. So yeah, never mind. So the U.S. has actually a very small amount. Comparatively. So
a lot less impactful than you would think, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it is still interesting though that they haven't just like market sold at all. I guess they're trying to just maximize value. But
yeah, use this Bitcoin to 1 million pump is all of their exit liquidity.
You ever had the U.S. government use you as exit liquidity because you're about to like
Bitcoin to 1 million, and then they sell 41,000 at 1 million each. Oh my gosh! There you go. That's how they make their SVB money back.
Yeah, that's how the FDIC gets their pockets filled up. They're just going to get a donation from the government. That's it. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, talking less about NFTLA and also the regulatory stuff. One thing that I think is also important that I don't know, like since the last time we did a podcast, probably 3 or 4 more of the people that we've worked with or had relationships with in Web3 shut down, pivoting.
Yeah.
I just like, we've said this before, we'll say it again. We are still working in Web3. We're still working for creators, and we are not pivoting to AI. I don't know why everyone thinks we might pivot to AI. AI is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm a technologist. Like I like it. I think it's neat. It's cool. Use it to help me. I still am adamant that any company building on top of OpenAI is not a company with a moat. And we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, people are always like, oh, we're going to have like the reputation as the only people who didn't pivot to AI in Web3, like it's insane.
I've already noticed there's AI tokens now. I don't know what they do, but I just know that everyone's launching the next token project to say, hey, we're building an AI buy our token, and another Ponzi likely, but who knows?
Hey, you just put together, the smartest minds, and then you launch a Ponzi scheme. That's how you, that's how you really make money, not innovate, just make money. Like,
yeah. Well, that's why we want to focus on creator tools, because creator tools actually create value. They're actually like owning their communities and doing important shit instead of just launching a fucking token that winds up being nothing. God, it's so frustrating sometimes being in this space. And I'm sure the creators are also just as frustrated. I mean, I've been seeing that on the timeline too, like people who actually build shit getting annoyed with just
it's also like discouraging as a builder to see all of these people that are making Ponzi schemes get rich and be successful and like have people look up to them and talk about them a lot. Whereas builders like literally just never get talked about anymore. It's always everyone's always talking about the big hype marketing. Like that's why Frank is so good at what he does in Solana. And I mean, now I guess multi-chain, but it's like, if you can talk a lot, you get the most attention. But the actual builders, like it took so long for even those projects that I mentioned for Solana to even like get recognition that they deserved. And I know that those are even like just a slight fraction of the builders that are out there. And I know that it is like extremely discouraging to most builders, but I know we're still here and we still believe in it. We're going to be building it. It'll be fun.
This space, I mean, you're right though. Like this space has like a reputation for propping up just the wrong fucking people. Like, and it's so funny though, because the average person just like eats the shit up because it just sounds like building, but there's really no innovation. The one thing that I thought was the funniest underlining all of this actually, which makes it relevant for Polygon, Polygon launched their ZK EVM right when ZK Sync or Era also launched their mainnet. And not only is that hilarious timing, which I was like, there's no way that one of them was not coordinated or like had information on the other to launch at the same time. But to that regard, like as most chains do, which Coinbase's base testnet did, they made a awesome blockchain solution, a solution that's supposed to solve all of the problems that ETH has, like high gas and, you know, I guess you could say like added extra security on the new layer and stuff like that. Like there's a whole bunch of benefits to these L2s, like Base's optimistic rollup versus ZK EVM, Polygon's ZK EVM. So they launch a commemorative NFT to mark the occasion, but then they launch it on fucking ETH. Like you just built a blockchain that's supposed to showcase how great this solution is on top of ETH, and you don't even launch the NFT, which can work fully functional as people would recognize it on your layer. But like Polygon's, like for example, Polygon's commemorative NFT, you mint it, and then they're going to airdrop you the equivalent token on ZK EVM, which is ridiculous because what you just told all of your users is use the regular layer one you've been always using. Then we're going to airdrop you a token. So you never even have to connect your wallet to our layer at all. That doesn't show adoption. You didn't showcase the power of more efficient gas prices, faster transaction speeds, better security. You showed your users none of that. And you just airdropped them an NFT that they minted on layer one. Like what the absolute fuck were they thinking for marketing? And Base did the same thing. They minted on ETH, and then they said, "Oh, it's like a homage to ETH to like show respect to ETH." You do not need to show a blockchain respect. Just show the power of your technology. Like that doesn't make any sense. This is bullshit. I think they just realized it was stupid. So I don't know. Anyway, that's my rant. It's /n rant. Okay, I'm done with like. It's so fed up with that shit.
It was also soulbound, right? The Polygon's like ZK EVM thing. Wasn't that a soulbound NFT?
The L1 is soulbound. The one they drop on EVM won't be.
Okay.
Which also like we support ZK EVM on Mintplex for those of you who don't know. So Polygon could have just launched the contract directly on ZK EVM using Mintplex and got soulbound and also got users to connect. And also could have just done the airdrop directly on their own chain. Who would have thought they could use their own tech? Yeah, what a joke. So, yeah.
I mean, they're also like they also have like a full service like the dev team. You know, like they could have just not even used a launchpad at all. They could have just built it. It's their chain.
Yeah, you know how much I guess the equivalent ETH would be on their chain. You know how much they probably have as a developers? They could have done gasless minting for everyone on the chain, which would have then brought people onto the chain, added that network into their wallets, and had them at least interact to see how fast the gasless minting occurred. Like they could have got onto the chain and experienced how great it is from day one without paying a single dollar. And Polygon said, "Nah, fuck that. You're paying ETH." Like It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we know Polygon spends a lot of money on BD. So I don't know if the platform they were using to do this just was like, hey, we just can't ship fast enough. So we can't put ZK EVM on the chain on our product. But like, you're right, though. Polygon has a team full of devs. They could have done this this could have been on someone's lunch break. They could have made this contract.
Exactly. Like, it's also EVM compatible. So it's a 7/21/11.
It's the same. You can deploy the contract directly to the chain. That's the biggest joke of it all.
Oh,
it's not
God.
like
it's even worse when we talk about it. It's just like,
it's not
why?
like ZK Sync. It's not like ZK Sync where you got to deploy on L1 and then all the state differences, the minting is settled on L2. that's how like immutable X works, and that's how ZK Sync works. No. With ZK EVM, you just whatever you were going to do on ETH, just do it directly on ZK EVM. Problem solved. It's absolutely baffling if someone from Polygon's BD team, I don't know how they pitch that to the rest of the team. Like, hey guys, I got an idea.
Business development team is not too smart. They spend so much money on partners and all of these other like bullshit things, and then they let go of part of their team last month. It's like,
and also like how many questions do we get from people just having weird esoteric issues with Polygon? Like it was only like 2 months ago, or maybe a month ago, actually, where I realized that if you use the public RPC, like if you go to Polygon Scan and add Polygon to your wallet, that RPC cannot find transaction hashes that are older than 60 days. So like even the public RPC doesn't allow you to like go further back in the chain's history. You'd have to use Alchemy, who fully index the entire thing. Like, it's just, I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. Like, we have all these problems, we have all these things, and then they go and launch a chain. And it's like, and I don't know if y'all saw when they launched the chain, everyone was like, oh, this is bullshit because this isn't going to pump the price of Matic.
I mean, that's all people care about. It's like 90% of people in crypto just want their bags to be pumped, and that's it.
That's true. Matic is actually in some ways a more stable coin than USDC. It's consistently been $1 for like ever now. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it actually has been for a long time.
But like, yeah, that's all people were talking about. They were like, oh yeah, when token, like how come this isn't going to pump the price of Matic, or there's no use using ZK EVM because Polygon already has a token. And it's like, first off, they don't even have a token. That's like the native currency of the chain. It's not like an ERC20. I don't understand it.
They don't even use it. Even with their NFTs, they use wrapped Ethereum.
That's true. Which has been also, I guess, a point of contention for people that migrated all of their UTs from Solana to Polygon. I don't know what's been going on with that. You seem to know.
Yeah. I mean, since there's so many people, there's 13,000 UTs that are supposed to go over, 11,000 have been. And just my entire Twitter feed is filled with people complaining about how terrible it is to use. And my prediction is that a lot of them will just dump it to everyone's like freaking out right now because Ethereum whales are buying in on UTs. But I don't think what the Ethereum whales notice is that we won't be using Polygon ever again. So I'm going to guess those ETH whales are all being exit liquidity. All of those like dedicated Solana holders are going to end up like either waiting until the price crashes a lot or just like fully backing out and going back to Solana. It's not like any of those users are actually going to go into the Polygon ecosystem and start buying those NFTs because it's just like not a good user experience at all.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah,
one of the people who work on their team that I follow on my timeline, they were saying like, oh, the migration to Polygon has unlocked so many opportunities that like, I'm like, what opportunities to what? Like to dump on all of your holders? Like,
yeah. Nothing at all. And then you see Frank going around. He's like, oh, what are the best Polygon NFTs to sweep? How about Ethereum? None. And it's like, yeah, there's none. Everyone was making jokes about how he's going to be the Trump card holder NFT people. Because you know how Trump has his NFTs on Polygon. Everyone's like, oh, they're just going to be their exit liquidity. And yeah, there's nothing on Polygon. He's been buying Ethereum ones and he already started dumping them within 7 hours of buying them. He'd make a tweet about it just to get hype and then dump it. So yeah, it'll be a fun marketing stunt to watch again, but who knows how long they'll stay relevant on Polygon.
Yeah, I just can't. I mean, that is actually kind of funny. There is no Bored Ape or Cool Cat equivalent on Matic. There is no big time, high dollar, high hold, high conviction project on Polygon.
Yep.
I mean, I think says a lot.
There's like Zrun, which is like a utility based game NFT, but like that makes sense. but they don't have like an actual like status one. And even like, dude, when DeGods is migrating today to Ethereum, and like that's not going to hold up to Ethereum standards. Like once the Ethereum guys are like, oh, like this is the big Solana project, everyone buy in, they'll buy in and then realize that there's like literally no utility. It'll literally just be another,
it's the same as owning. It's the same as owning any other mid NFT.
It's like about to reach the price of like so many other better NFT collections.
Azuki.
And even Clone X is better at that point. Like, what is Clone X floor price compared to DeGods? I don't even know. But I mean, dude, there's just so many other better collections on Ethereum.
Yeah, there are. Jorrel, what were you going to say? You were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say it's like it's when overall, I mean, we talk about onboarding, right? And we talk about how when a user comes in and they need to transact on Polygon, they have to use native Matic. Where do you get native Matic?
You literally, you have to bridge. You have to bridge.
I mean, this is the same issue with Optimism, Arbitrum, and most of the L2 chains that we've interacted with, is that they have a horrible onboarding process. And so, and this is something that Jake, this is something that Jake actually brought up to us a few weeks ago, where he's like, the great thing about Solana is it's really easy to get Solana. It's not
same way
easy.
It's easy to get ETH. It's like, that's why they're popular.
It's like literally like the priority for these L2 chains should be make it easy for the user to get your coin so you can use it. Because that's the thing, like with Polygon, is that like the reason that there are no good projects there is because all the people that are on it are people who like, you know, they know the system enough where they have Matic already and they can transact, and it's usually ends up being some sort of like scam or shit project. But like the barrier to entry for like Solana and ETH is not very high. You can just go on like a Coinbase or Kraken, immediately get it, put it in your wallet, and you're like good to go. And so it's just like, that's why to me, I just find it so funny, because it's like everybody focuses on the utility aspect when it's like, okay, but how do you get the crypto to begin with?
The only way that like it works without needing to bridge is if you're, once again, I always think in video games. Jorrel and Tim knows this, but for the viewers, I always talk about video games and blockchain technology for them. The whole thing is like, at least for video games, you're able to make like a centralized system where like the user literally doesn't need to buy wrapped Ethereum or Matic in order to transact on chain. And like, that's the cool part about the blockchain technology that's there. That's why like everyone's like, oh, this is great, like low fees, and it actually works. Whereas everyone for some reason thinks Solana never works, which is like hilarious to me, because there's so many other chains. Like Avalanche just went down a couple weeks ago and stuff like that. And it's Avalanche. Like, there's so many problems with all chains that like, it's like Solana isn't the only one. Like everyone's working on things. So it's just like important to just like stick around for all chains, see how they're all working, what's the best at the time. But like, as far as like Polygon versus Solana goes, it's literally just the onboarding process for like non-video games, like we were just explaining. So it will be fun to see when the games are actually developed, because all of them, like I've been playing Dead Drop recently. I'm excited to see how that'll pan out, because I can't tell if all of the items in the game are going to be NFTs or not, or if it's just their one. They have like a helmet that you can wear in game.
So they're like experimenting with it.
Yeah. So they did one experiment. They had like a founders club type thing where if you hold their founders NFT, then you get a certain like helmet in game. So it's just one item for now, but I am curious because I think that they're partnered with Polygon. So I think when the game actually comes out, it will be more blockchain focused with more items. So I'm just looking forward to see how that all works out.
I did just want to outline right now the number one collection when you go to OpenSea right now on trending is called Ponzi Lords. I'm not even shitting you. It is literally called that.
Surprise me.
Yeah. And I just like, I'm looking at the project right now. I'm be honest, I do not get it. I don't understand it. Like, God damn it, man. It's just like every day it's just something like.
What is Nakamigos? Because everyone's freaking out about that.
My
and
God.
It looks like an absolute rug.
Yeah, everyone's talking about Nakamigos. I'll tell you what they actually did was what we've told other people is marketing before they minted. There was a whole lot of misinformation about how, hey, do you notice how Nakamigos looks like CryptoPunks? Is that another Yuga project? And it's like, no, it's not a secret Yuga project. Like, it's all just like very clever marketing and undisclosed page hills. And so they are absolutely pumping. Like, I mean, they're only still at 0.28, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's why there is a derivative project called Amigos yesterday. That launched on us.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, where did that come from? And I was like, oh, that's because this one.
Yeah, that's what it's about. So they have 20,000 items in their collection. So it's pretty big. It's a pretty big collection. But only 27% unique owners. Huh.
They're all going to get fucked.
Yeah, someone's going to get dumped.
Everyone's going to, yeah. It'll be like another 2 weeks until that one crashes.
It's just, and fundamentally though, like for people who are listening to these rants, it's like, we're not just like shitting on any project that launches. What we're shitting on are projects that launch that have no future vision. Like there's no like ambition beyond just the initial mint and walking away. Like, and if you're going to hope to have a successful project, you need to have that. You need to have that execution vision of like, what does it look 1 week post mint?
At the end of the day, you're building a company. It's like, you're not going to go into a startup just saying, all right, guys, we're getting funding. That's it. It's like, hey guys, we have this pitch.
Well, if you look at last cycle, there were a couple companies that literally just said, we're just getting funding. And, now there's a dust token. So yeah, some weird things came out of that.
There's definitely, last cycle was definitely lots of, what's it called? ITOs? A lot of ICOs.
ITOs. Oh, yeah.
No, they called it ITOs because they were trying to move away from ICOs because that sounded scammy. Yeah. So they're like, let's just call it an initial token offering instead, guys. Like,
we'll get them on that one.
That's way better, guys.
Yeah. But no, and Jake's right though. Like when you start these things, like we've said that before, like starting an NFT project, like a serious one, you are either a company that already exists and you're launching this as an extension to your owners, or you are starting out and it will become something that maybe you don't want to call it a company, but it will look like one and it will function like one. There will be expectations. There will be a service or a product or something that you offer besides
it's not only that.
Yeah.
From personal experience too, it's like even though your holders are not shareholders, they will act like it. Rather than having a board of 5 to 10 members, you have 300 plus people yelling at you every other day and saying like, hey, why isn't the price going up? And it's like, it's hard to explain to people since NFTs are viewed as an investment. And marketplaces literally have the analytics to make every single NFT look like an investment tool when really they are just digital assets. It's like, if you are going to buy sneakers, you have a sneaker market. Sure, some sneakers are for flips and to actually be a like product that you trade, but most sneakers are just usable as footwear. It's like the entire market doesn't need to be an investment tool. Yeah. And that's what I feel like winds up happening with some project owners. I mean, early on in Mintplex, or when we were still called Ramp, we had some creators we had one creator I remember in specific. They had done when 0x extension projects were very popular on ETH, which is basically just like reshuffling traits of existing collections and making an extension one. The biggest issue that happened with this creator was exactly that. It was, why is the price not going up? And the guy's like, that was never what this was about. What this was about was people being able to open the community to more people by reshuffling the traits. That's all it was ever about. Yeah.
And they did not portray it as anything other than that. And they minted out, it went well, but then all of a sudden people were like, oh, the floor price. So the guy's like, what do you mean the floor price? The whole point was to be recognized as part of the actual community that the original community is. And like, people just did not get that. And it was because of very much the whole idea of just like, I bought this, so I own a part of this community. So you should listen to what I say. When most of the advice you'd get from sometimes your holders, like there are holders that mean well, but just do not understand the context of like what it takes to run a successful NFT project, and will give you the worst recommendations for growing your community possibly ever, because it helps their bags. That's why.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
a lot of the NFT space right now. That's why, once again, gaming will be the onboarder. I've been watching a lot of CSGO box openings. A lot of people are opening crates recently with the CS2 coming out. And it's like interesting to watch people be so invested, like interested in watching streamers open cases and get skins that are worth thousands of dollars. But if that was a Web3 game and those were NFTs, people would absolutely call it a scam. But if it's not an NFT, it's like the whole thing is like all the NFT does is allow it to be permissionless and like decentralized, where if someone else, it's like, hey, if you hold this skin in CSGO, you can also have a similar skin in my video game. It's just being able to like add more use cases to an NFT holder. But people don't see that, and they're just like, "Oh, NFTs are scams," and that's it.
They got a bad rep. They have a huge PR problem right now, and I think you're right. Like the onboarding will actually be tricking people into realizing that what they've been doing is NFTs all along.
Yep, exactly. That's why Dead Drop does not seem like a Web3 game right now. That's why I have a lot of like hope in that one, because streamers are playing it. I mean, it's created by one of the biggest streamers in the world. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, because it's still it's pre-alpha still. And there's thousands of people playing it and streaming it. And I think like within a year, it will be more of one of the notable Web3 games.
Yeah, which is kind of weird that like, Dead Drop came out of nowhere, and kind of like, how Yuga had their whole like other side exploration game that they've been working on for a minute now. Again, I don't know why this has to be said, but what Dead Drop is doing versus what Yuga is doing, the reason Dead Drop will succeed is because Dead Drop set out to make a video game, and Yuga set out to make a blockchain demo, like a NFT use case demo. And that right there will be the fundamental difference.
Already destroyed other side, in my opinion. Yes. Fortnite Creative 2.0 just came out, and it's the metaverse that the other side is creating. Like you can completely create everything that the other side has done. You can just create in Fortnite Creative.
Well, I mean, they're using Unreal Engine, which is like the most like advanced gaming engine that's out there. And so it's kind of like, it's hilarious.
You just use it. You just use it. It's like right there.
Yeah.
It's like, why recreate the wheel with shittier parts when you have someone that can just make it like from the pre-existing tech stack? I mean, it's just, I don't know. Once again, it's like some of these people that have like been building these things didn't come in knowing that they were building a company. And so they didn't hire the people that are the best at what they do to build the stuff. It was all happenstance.
Yuga was unreal at the marketing game. Getting MoonPay on board, MoonPay connected to agencies in Hollywood who are connected to all the celebrities, to Shill, and like just ultimate Ponzi scheme. Then they were eventually like, we need to make a product. And one day D-Gods will do that and be like, we need to make a product. So I'm curious what they'll be. But as far as other side goes, I mean, Fortnite Creative is already that.
And to that point, where is MoonPay today? Has anyone heard anything from them? I haven't seen anything.
I mean, and also like, we talk about this a lot, Tim. Go where your users are, right? Everybody's on Fortnite. Like whether like, as much as I love shitting on it, like, when I was first playing, during the pandemic and whatnot, lockdowns, I was playing a lot of Fortnite. You know what I mean? And as much as people like to make fun of it or that it's not relevant, once again, their engine that they run it on, Unreal Engine, is the most used engine in AAA games.
Yeah, I mean, even Clone X, Nike's company Artifact, is building on Fortnite already.
Yep, I've seen that.
It's absolutely.
I mean, that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like, hey, the Web3 NFTs, all of this stuff became an addition to stuff that was already fun. And it gave you some freedoms that you didn't have before. That was always the point. For people who are launching NFTs now, going directly, like launching with us or just launching anywhere, those people, you're actually still early. It may not feel like it because the market is in a downturn, but for people even listening to this podcast, for people who have bought an NFT or are making an NFT, you're actually extremely early because the adoption cycle, like the actual real onboarding, hasn't even begun. And so knowing what you know now, it'll actually probably give you like superpowers once you start once more people start adopting. Because really, like we said already, if you're creating an NFT project, you're actually building something, and so these people will be able to onboard some of the new people who eventually wind up here. Like it feels that is a bull case for crypto right there, is that the real onboarding hasn't begun yet. And the people now are just early. And sure, there's a lot of bullshit going on, but like there are going to be real things that come out of this. So
absolutely,
a little bit of hope after a whole podcast of FUD. So
well, anyways, as we're wrapping up this episode, once again, thank you so much, Jake, for joining us on this one. Jake will show up more and more often. We won't try and force him on here every Friday. That would just be too much. He's doing a lot of awesome work with us right now. But when he has time, he will hop on and give his more unbiased take on Solana than we do. But some quick updates. Tim, could you tell some of our listeners about some of the new stuff that's coming, some of the new stuff we did and what's coming up specifically on the Mintplex end?
So stuff that was done recently was we actually recently changed the way that Mintplex Pro works. So if you had Mintplex Pro on any of your projects, that project now has Pro for the rest of time until eternity ends. And that is just what we gave you as a gift for being early. Going forward, if you want to upgrade another Mintplex Pro project or anything, or if you don't have Pro at all right now, when you buy Pro, it will actually apply to all of your projects. So you have one subscription, as many projects as you want on Pro. You just got to keep one subscription up to date and that's it. So it's much more simple on you as the user now, and being able to build and also experiment with multiple different projects at the same time while all still getting the benefits of Pro. So to that effect, because we did change it, we did increase the price. I think it was around $15 prior, and now it is at $20. So, or I believe so. Yeah, it's around 20 now.
Like
so
that,
yeah, not a massive change in price, but it is actually much more beneficial to you now because you only have to maintain one subscription. The other thing, speaking of subscriptions that's coming, is we will be supporting the, how Mintplex Pro works, like the idea of having an NFT that expires. That will actually be something you can launch with Mintplex now. And we're going to give you all the tools to do it. So don't worry about that. We're going to give you the ability to manage all of your subscribers, have a page and embed buttons where people can buy and renew. So you don't have to worry about any of that. We're going to handle it all for you. But you will be able to have now recurring revenue for your NFT. Your NFT project. That's literally what this will unlock. It could be your actual NFT, or it could be a extension of an existing project that you do token gating against. It works with all token gating solutions like Collabland and all of that. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And then future stuff going forward, we are looking at doing a massive UI overhaul on Mintplex. Will solve so many problems, will make us, we already have more features than anybody else. And we do more for creators than literally anybody else in the space. But now we'll be able to effectively communicate that and showcase that to you while you're on Mintplex. For those of you who have joined us and been with us since we were ramp, you know the UI we have now is vastly better than the one we used to have. And if you are new to Mintplex, since you've only known us as Mintplex, this is going to 10x your experience and your productivity with Mintplex. So And then, we've got some other stuff in the works, but nothing, too noteworthy. Those are the high points.
Yeah, definitely a lot of really interesting stuff going on. We're always doing something interesting, that's just how we are. But on that note of things as well, Jake is pumping out content left and right, which is awesome. So make sure, if you found this podcast, you're probably already on our YouTube channel. Make sure to keep an eye out for all the new tutorials and guides and content that we will be pushing out here, as well as on our other, on our other socials like TikTok and Twitter, et cetera. We'll be hashing away at that and really operationalizing our support funnel.
And making support just a lot better to where you can kind of self-help now. I can't stress this enough that Jake's videos are literally like Martin Scorsese level quality. Like they are much better than anything I could have ever produced.
Well, relatively, we don't want to create false expectations, but if you watch one of our tutorials first and then you watch Jake's, you're gonna be like, wow, he's great. He's so much better than these guys.
Great tutorials.
There's going to be
brings
sound.
A tear to Tim's eyes.
Yeah, it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to have somebody be able to make decent videos about the stuff that we've worked so hard on. So,
yeah. But anyways, with that, any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode of the Mintplexity podcast? We'll start you off, Jake.
I have nothing else to say other than just like I'm excited. I love listening to what you're saying we're working on, but I know that there's a lot more going on under the hood, and I'm excited for those eventually to be announced as well, and just excited to be part of the team.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's the case, then the one thing is, as always, test on testnet. I don't know how many times we have to tell people that. We end every podcast. Test on testnet. Please test on testnet and also test on testnet, and that's it. So, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's the only most important thing to say. But with that, this is the once again 17th episode of the Mintplexity podcast. Make sure to follow all of our socials. You know which ones they are, and if you found them or if you found this video, then make sure to watch all of our other episodes that are here on our YouTube channel. And with that, thank you all so much, listeners, for always sticking around somehow and listening to this every other week or so that we post this video or, these podcasts. And with that, we will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye. Peace.
Bye.